Hello everybody, welcome back to Railway once again. Today I've got yet another unboxing slash review of a lovely little locomotive, and it's this, the N2 by Mainline Railways. Now I've actually got a pair of these, and you'll see the other one later when we get them running, because this one here, the green one, LNER green, is the only one in its box. The other one was unboxed. So this is the class N2, as I said. I'll tell you a little bit about the class. They were first introduced in 1920 by Nigel Gresley, of course, or Sir Nigel Gresley I should say, and they were produced for 9 years until 1929, and there's only one left. And according to the little booklet or leaflet that you get in the box, that says that it's in Loughborough at the moment, at the, is it the Great Central Railway? At Loughborough, yes. So yeah, if that's true, that's where you can see the last N2. I don't know if it's a LNER green one or BR black one, like the other one. I don't know. But yeah, we'll get this one unboxed because it's not very nice having to look through the plastic with the lighting. So here we go. Now this one is a gorgeous little loco. Let's get it out so that you can see for yourself. And it's a very, very lovely livery as well. So we'll look at the loco in a sec. You get this booklet that I've already briefly mentioned. Not only do you get this brilliantly detailed information sheet about the class and the history, which is very, very cool, and these are great if you don't know much about the locos, so always read these if you've got the chance. You've also got a maintenance sheet really, which shows you the motor. As you can see, it's a motor that somewhat resembles the XO4 or the XO3, which is unlike other mainline locos. But we'll get on to more about that later, so I'll keep that out. So I'll take the loco out now. Now it's this styrofoam, which I'm not too keen on, but it does the job. Take this out. So there you see the 062 locomotive. It's a very nice wheel configuration, I would say, to start off with. Now, an interesting thing with this loco is, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but on the bottom it actually says Airfix. And I'll take it away so that I can read it to you if you couldn't see it. It says Airfix Products Limited 1980, made in Hong Kong. Now when I first got this I thought, oh, somebody's stuffed an old Airfix model into a mainline box and you know, made it out to be mainline, either on purpose or by accident. But I don't think that's the case. Firstly, made in Hong Kong. Well, we know that mainline stuff was made in Hong Kong. Secondly, the motor in this model exactly matches the motor on here. Because when I saw the motor in the loco, I thought, hang on, that isn't the motor you normally see with mainline locos. But then looking at the instructions, which are mainline, you can see the motor there. Also, the box completely matches the loco, as you can see on the end. You've got the N2 class 062 locomotive, sorry, T locomotive, LNER green livery, and the catalogue number 54154. Now, I can't see the catalogue number anywhere on the loco, but the description otherwise exactly matches. So now I reckon this is a mainline loco, and Airfix must have paired up with them or something. It looks like that anyway. Either way, I'm not too fussed. It's a good runner, but that must be what's happened because it all seems kosher, the paperwork and whatnot. Right, let's get her up on some rails anyway, and I'll give you a nice close look as always. Right, so I've got the loco up on a white background today. Now I've got this a lot higher than the main track level, which means I can get a lot more different camera angles. But if you did prefer the old version of doing things, please let me know. I'm just trying to give you the best possible close look at the locomotives without actually seeing them in the flesh. So that's what I'm trying to get at anyway. So if you like that, let me know, or any preference at all, let me know. It's always nice to get some feedback. But anyway, yeah, it is a very, very, very nice locomotive. Absolutely gorgeous looking, especially when she runs, but we'll get onto that later on. This one's in absolutely pristine condition. It doesn't really seem to have had much use at all. And considering it's from the 1980s, it seems to be extremely modern. I wouldn't like to say if it could give the modern Hornby ones a run for their money, but it's certainly not lacking in detail. First thing to notice is there is plastic in the windows. I think this must be one of the oldest locos I have to feature that. Of course, that's just the front-facing windows. I don't think there are any back-facing ones. I can have a look. I don't think there are. No, it's more like a grille on the back, isn't it? So the back-facing ones is more of a grille. But yes, that's quite nice. Like I say, I think that this probably is the oldest loco I have that features that. So I don't know, it could get an award or something for that, I suppose. You've got the handrails, lots of them too. It's around the coal bunker at the back, not really along the boiler but along the tanks on the side. You've got one on the front of the boiler, well, on the smoke box door. The whistles appear to be plastic. I could be wrong, but the whistles and valves appear plasticky. Perhaps not the valves, but the whistle does look it. Perhaps you'll be able to see better than I can on the camera, I don't know. It's possible. But yeah, it's good plastic, and they're so tiny, it's really very difficult to tell. But perhaps they are metal, I wouldn't like to say. Then you've got these sort of pipes from the tank, the water tanks, which go in towards the front of the smoke box. So perhaps they're to carry water, perhaps they're not. I would assume so, but I don't know for sure, so don't take it as golden. Of course, a model like this doesn't have sprung buffers or anything like that, but it does have a very nicely detailed buffer beam with the running number on the front, and a nicely detailed vacuum pipe. I think I've mentioned that I like the mainline vacuum pipes in the past. Also, they're attached in two places. I don't know if you'll be able to see that, but that it just means that I suppose they're less likely to break off, aren't they? Which is always great. There's a couple of rivets. Not a high rivet count, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. It's just a few round the front of the boiler there, but it doesn't matter, that's fine. You have got a very, very tiny decal on the coal bunker, which I can't read, and I have exceptionally good close-up vision, so I can't read it. Perhaps you can with the close-up. Perhaps, I don't know, but it is extremely tiny, very tiny. Now, the wheels are very good actually on this one. Because it's such an old loco, you'd expect to have, not big flanges, but you know, quite thick, unrealistic wheels. The linkage is often quite chunky and unrealistic, but it's actually quite closely resembling modern model locos. It's quite quaint, I suppose, I could say. It isn't too chunky and it looks reasonably realistic, not too bad at all. Of course, I forgot to mention the steps along the sides. There's sets of steps on both sides, just in front of the water tank, and of course where the cab is as well. Now, unlike the modern engines, I assume the modern ones would have cab detail, but unfortunately the majority of the cab is consumed by the motor. So no cab detail to speak of, but of course it's only a very, very tiny, well, it's not a window, it's sort of doorway, so you're not really going to notice that too much. And the motors seem quite good, they don't throw out any sparks or anything like that, so you don't see any flickering, but I suppose if you did, it might even look like the fire, so I don't know. But yeah, I'll mention the coal. The coal is quite nice, it's quite modern. I don't think it's removable, it looks like it's fixed in there permanently. But again, something I always like to see, the finer detailed coal. It's quite textured. It adds a lot more style to the loco, I think, especially because it's, you know, especially viewed from above, it's quite a prominent feature of it, isn't it, the coal. But it's a sizable coal bunker as well. A lot of my tankers have a lot smaller coal bunkers, so obviously this loco was designed for perhaps long distance journeys on smaller railways, at a guess. Don't know, but it's possible. Right, I'll show you the black one very quickly then, and then we'll get them both running. Well, here's the BR Black Edition anyway, and I won't talk for too long about this one because for all intents and purposes it is identical apart from the livery. I can't see any other difference other than that, of course, the running number is beside the cab underneath the coal bunker rather than on the side of the tank. But other than that, they're very similar. Now, you've probably seen this loco before if you've if you've been watching the channel for long enough. I wasn't very nice about this one because the body doesn't fit properly, and I had a lot of problems getting this one to run. But it's running reasonably well now. I've managed to glue the body on, which means I can't service the motor, but I will be able to clean the commutator and put little drops of oil on the motor through the window. And of course I can get to the axles and that just by taking off the screws underneath and getting to them like that. So it's still serviceable, but it's by no means in pristine condition as the green one is. But yeah, that's the BR Black Loco. I'll get them both running now for you so that you can see them both in action. Right, so they're down on the ground now, both of them coupled up to coaches. Now, I will say before we get them running, there is one serious design error with the mainline N2s. And that is with the positioning of the motor inside. Now, this is weird, and I've never seen anything like this before, but the motors, which as I said before, are inside the cab here. The back of the motors are right up against the rear of the body. And of course, if you know anything about these motors, if you've ever seen one before, you'll know the magnet is right at the back of the motor. And you can actually feel, if I put the screwdriver here, a very strong magnetic force just here. And what that actually means is the coupling hooks on the coaches are attracted to it. Let's see. It's laughable, isn't it? But there you go, look. You can see the coupling hook on that coach is permanently pulled up. Look, if I push it down, it comes straight back up. I don't know if you can see that. It comes straight back up. Which means you have to rely on the plastic coupling hook on the locomotive, and they are poor. They're a bit flimsy. They judder around a little bit. So I've put this coach on because it's got a thicker coupling bar, if that's what you call it, so with the hope that that won't be an issue. The coupling hook on this loco isn't as bad, so that's alright with the coaches I had before. So there's just one intercity coach on the back of the BR Black version. Now you could remedy that with a bit of aluminium. Now I don't know how much space there is. I can't remember how much space there is between the motor and the rear. But obviously this body's glued on, so it's stuck. But this one, a little bit of aluminium, maybe even as much as a couple of sheets of tin foil, would help get rid of that magnetic field. Which is crazy, isn't it? It's a really stupid problem to have to deal with. But yeah, that's what it was. I realised almost as soon as I coupled up that that's what was happening. And it's very silly indeed. But it's not a problem. Well, it is a problem, but it's not a problem today because they're coupled and they seem to stay coupled. Only time will tell if they stay coupled for the rest of the video. Hopefully they will. But without further ado, I'm going to get the green one off first, and then we'll get the black one to follow. They're very, very good performers. The black one perhaps not so much, but as I said, that is the worst of the two. Right, let's get the green one going first. Hopefully she's forwards. Yep. It's nice and slow. The motor is absolutely flying round already. Good high speed, high torque motor. Well, low torque motor. Low torque, high speed, and then the gearing means that it's amplified into power. And there's the LNER coaches. Get that up to a good speed. Right, let's get the black version to go. We'll have to see how she performs, so here we go. Not bad at all. There you go. An odd rake of coaches for you. Alright, let's watch them run. Black one's struggling a little bit. Not too badly. Gorgeous locos though, aren't they? I really, really am fond of these. Lovely. Now I don't want to sound mean to the black one, but I do find this LNER green livery to be absolutely beautiful. I do prefer it, I think. But they're both very good runners actually. This black one I ridiculed originally, didn't I? But I don't mind it so much, it's not bad at all. Just going to be a pain to service, that's all. Well everybody, I think that'll just about do it. Once again, Mainline has done it and created a very, very lovely locomotive. Hope you enjoyed that one anyway. Thank you very much for watching as always. Please like and subscribe and visit me on Facebook if you'd like to at facebook.com/samstrains. But for now everybody, thank you for watching once again and I will see you very soon.